Welcome back to Flow Made Simple. Today I'm teaching an amazing flow called even attention. See if you can guess why I call it that. This is a great flow for an aspiring mace flow artist, and it's a ton of fun to perform. I'll show you the full speed flow next, and then I'll break it down. Let's go. To teach you this flow, I'm gonna start off with the hardest part, because once you handle the hardest part of the flow, the rest of it is easy. The most difficult part is the first stab, where you go out like this and then you drop around into a shield. Now the reason this is tricky is because it involves dropping the mace tail around while opening your hand up so that you can catch and push forward. So I want to show you how to actually do that. You may see a lot of people doing this sort of a movement, being able to make a full circle, and perhaps you've done this before with like a bow staff or something. The key to performing this is one, having your hand closer to the head of the mace so that the tip is heavier. And this is important because if my hand is too far forward, most of the weight is towards the back of the mace, the globe. And then I'm gonna have a really hard time making a circle without putting a lot of energy into it. And what we wanna do is have it be nice and easy where the momentum of the tail of the mace is what carries it through. So it's really just a circular motion with my wrist. So to perform the circular motion, as I hold the mace in front of myself, I'm gonna be pinching with my thumb and forefinger. And the rest of the fingers can actually come off. And then what I'm going to do is drop the tip, as we said, and I'm going to allow the tip to point down and my wrist to open, and those fingers are still off, and then I'll just pull it back up. And you can use other fingers to help you pull it back up. So all you have to do, pinch those fingers, make sure that they are behind the center point of the mace, so the tip is heavier, and then you just drop it around, and you're trying to make the circle as tight as possible. So I'm not trying to point it really far away from my body or angle it out to the side. I wanna drop it straight down and then pull it straight up. So make sure you've practiced this. You can pause the video if you need to. And now I'm gonna teach you the actual flow, just continuing it all through start to finish. To perform this flow, we're going to begin in warrior stance. I'm gonna step out a little bit wider into horse stance, which is important for the footwork component of this flow. And what I'm going to do is begin by bringing one hand to the top of the mace, palm facing out. I'm gonna bring the mace down across my body, pivot towards the side that I'm gonna stab, so towards the tail end, and then lean on my back leg, so I have a little more stability. And from here, I'm going to stab out. Again, hand should be behind the gravity point, center of gravity of the mace. I'm gonna drop it, and then reconnect once it's vertical. And then I'm just going to pull the mace head towards myself, and then push it away into that shield. My thumbs should be pointing towards one another. From here, I'm gonna pull the tail towards my body, bringing it around and vertical, slide my hand down, and then pivot back to the front. And you can take off the hand closest to the head of the mace as you flip the mace around into a cradle grip. And from here, that free hand will reconnect underneath the head of the mace, pressing out into an arrow. And then all that is left from here is to do the same thing on the other side. So I'll come back in, nice and controlled. I'm gonna do a sword draw switch, meaning my palm goes out. So I end up back in that over grip, tail pointing the other direction now. And then I'll pivot, leaning on my back leg, stab out. I'm gonna have my hand behind the center of gravity of the mace, pinch thumb and forefinger, spin around, reconnect, shield. Pull the tail in towards your body, slide the hand down, come back to center, and then I'm going to just drop the mace through cradle grip, and then arrow. Same thing, back to center, palm out, grabs hold of the mace, pivot, stab, drop around, reconnect, shield. Pull the tail in and vertical, slide the hands together, come back, mace points vertically, and then I'll cradle grip underneath, reconnect, arrow. One more, bring it in, back to horse stance. Palm out, pivot, stab. Drop the tail, reconnect, shield. Thumbs pointing towards each other. pull the tail in, slide the hands together, back to the front, hand near the head of the mace comes off. As you flip it around, cradle grip, arrow. And then you'll come back to your warrior stance. So that's all that there is to this flow, but I have one challenge for you. As I said in the beginning, this flow is for the aspiring mace flow artist who wants to learn some of these principles and wants to explore. Here's the thing to explore within this flow. See how you can adjust the footwork. So what I mean by that, as I said, we stab and I lean back. We'll try leaning forward and then dropping it through and leaning back in your shield. See what happens with that. See how different stances, like leaning back in your arrow, will impact the flow. And by changing these small pieces after you've mastered the flow overall, you're gonna learn how subtle changes in the lower body will impact the rest of the flow, and it'll show you how the pieces fit together, and it'll teach you the more kind of granular aspects of the mace flow. So this is even attention, the flow. If you don't know by now, it's because you're trying to maintain even attention between your lower body movements and your upper body movements. You're trying to keep them harmonious and in touch with one another. Also, you're going from side to side, so even attention in that sense as well. Hope you enjoyed this flow. Please leave a comment down below if you have any questions, and please like this video if you found it valuable so it can spread to more people. Really appreciate you watching, and thank you so much for checking out this flow.